Okay, first, French Guiana versus Canada. Well, Florent Maluda did not play this game. Right at the last second, he was deemed ineligible to play for French Guiana. Had he been fielded, they would have been docked the full 3 points. They would have been forced to forfeit. So that seemed like a whole mess going on there. I'm not sure what the full story is, but the fact he was unable to play for his country of origin, I believe it's his country of birth, I'm not sure, really unfortunate for French Guiana because they could have really used his presence on the field today. This game looked like it was all over from the 50th minute onward when Alphonso Davies netted Canada's third. I'll get to him in a moment because he is worthwhile talking about. And when they went up 3-0, a lot of people thought about changing the channel, but French Guiana grew into this game. They came back strong. I was really surprised when they netted. They pulled one back off of a brilliant header of a corner kick to net their first goal. Then from there, the momentum of the game just completely shifted, and you could tell that French Guiana were in the driver's seat. The rain was pouring, and they never looked back. And honestly, Canada, for large stretches of the second half, they looked lost. They didn't know how to respond properly to this resurgent French Guyanese attack. And it sort of left you wondering, well, where was this effort in the first half? For the most part, I thought Canada's goals were largely due to horrible goalkeeping by Lyon, French Guiana's goalkeeper. And you could tell that the disparity in the gap in quality here was very vast. You could tell this was very much an amateurish side in French Guiana in the fact that they were not very good, not very efficient at clearing all of Canada's chances in defense. A lot of sloppy plays, a lot of mistakes being made. The first goal Canada scored off of Djokovic, Leon should have gotten a better hit to that. He should have either grabbed it. I'm talking about the goalkeeper here, or he should have kicked it away. Oh no, not kicked it away. He should have punched it away. And the clearance was just awful and allowed Canada to break through in the 28th minute or 29th minute. And then from there on, it was all Canada dominating. Now, French Guiana have to give them credit because in the second half, they almost came back to steal a point from this because they could have easily grabbed a third goal. I don't think many people imagined French Guiana scoring 3 goals in this match, but they almost did. This could have ended 3-3. Alphonso Davies on the counterattack bailed Canada out when they desperately needed it. Both Djokovic's and Arfield's goals really should have been preventable. But credit where credit is due for Canada. For Canada, it looks like for most of the first half, it was going to be same story all over again. They had failed to score a goal in the last 2 Gold Cups in 2013 and 2015. So they finally broke through the deadlock. And the problem with Canada, in my opinion, was a lot of the chances they created in that final third, they were lacking that flair. They were lacking that killing touch. They made a couple of really nice 1-2 passes in front of goal, but they just couldn't put away their chances. And the problem with Canada is I don't know if this kind of strategy, I don't know if they play like this against Honduras, Costa Rica. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable over the course of a 90-minute game. So I think that for Canada, they have to improve because in a goal that like this, it could come down to goal difference to determine who goes through in second and third because you concede 2 goals against the weakest opponent in the group. Not good. Arguably, you could have tied this game or you could have won this by a single goal margin if not for Davies's sort of saving Canada some embarrassment in the end, really. So winning this was a high-scoring game. The second half was very exciting to watch. It was very open. 6 goals scored. Canada wins 4-2. I think Canada has to improve, though, if they want to have even a shred of a chance to pick off points against Costa Rica and Honduras. For French Guiana, they're playing for pride. They scored their first ever goals in the Gold Cup competition in their first appearance. I don't see them doing anything against Costa Rica, Honduras. Maybe they'll grab a few more goals, but um, I don't see them getting out of this group with any points. But they did put in a respectable showing. They did not get, knocked around as many people thought they would, like other Caribbean teams have in the past in Gold Cup history. Um, but you really think that if they were going to get something from this group, it had to be from this match, and they couldn't do it in the end. The deficit was just too much to make up for once they went down 3-0. And Alphonso Davies, for Canada, officially the youngest goal scorer in the history of the Gold Cup. This dude was born in 2000. Again, I feel old. 16 years old. 16 years old, Alphonso Davies. 2 wonderful goals on the counterattack specifically. The speed of this guy today on the pitch was incredible. How he just nutmegged the French Guyanese goalkeeper Leon for his first goal of the match, Canada's third, was just something you don't see typical 16-year-olds do. So he's a potential bright spot for this Canadian team's future. We'll see how that goes. Now now Honduras versus Costa Rica. This match was a lot of missed opportunities for Los Catrachos, Laeche, Honduras in this group. Maybe this is all part of Jorge Luis Pinto's master plan to come in second. I'm telling you, he watches my videos. He saw my video yesterday, and he said, whoa, hold on 1 second. We got to finish second in this group, because then we get an easier path to the final. So don't worry, guys. I'm sure it's all part of his plan. Okay, no. But seriously, I feel comfortable with my predictions still, because if you look how this match played out, who created the most chances going forward? Easily in the first half, it's Honduras. Romel Kyoto and Elise had wonderful moments for Honduras, particularly when they were on the counter, and they just couldn't put away their chances. There was one moment in the second half where Elise received a clean cross and one-on-one with Pemberton. I think it was on the right side angle of the box around the 68th minute, and he just couldn't put it away. He decked it. You have to level it down, keep it on the ground, floor it, and just tuck it into the back of the net. But he just skyrocketed it. And that really should have been 1-1 for Honduras in that match. And Costa Rica, for most of this game, in my opinion, they just held on. They just they didn't create much going forward. They just served so many long balls up towards Joel Campbell. And for most of this match, I thought Honduras was the dominant team. And that was not just because they were behind and they had to search for an equalizer. But even in the first half, the first 35 minutes or so, it was all Honduras. It was all Honduras making those opportunities, and they just couldn't find the back of the net. And right before Costa Rica scored, wonderful cross, by the way, by Wallace that found Ureña's feet. But Honduras were just, in my opinion, I thought they were a little bit unlucky. I thought Honduras got a little bit unlucky not scoring today. I thought they deserved at least a draw from this game, given the context of how both teams played on the pitch. But it was just nothing but frustration for them. And it doesn't add to that in the halftime, a couple of players from both Costa Rica and Honduras were fighting in the tunnel. So, but it's not doom and gloom for Honduras, because this was their toughest game. Costa Rica's in pole position now to win this group, to get the full 9 points, considering that Canada and French Guiana are looming on the horizon. But Costa Rica themselves also need to improve. Like I said for Canada earlier, the Ticos did not look impressive today. I did not think this Costa Rica team looked very good. And this was part of a larger trend that was happening back in March during the World Cup qualifiers, where they almost dropped 3 points at home to Panama. They barely beat Trinidad and Tobago at home as well. I think they had to come from behind in that match. So is this part of a new trend where Costa Rica is sort of on the downturn under the manager Oscar Ramirez? I don't know. It remains to be seen, but I do think the better team today over the course of the 90 minutes did not get a result from this game. And that's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, Honduras doesn't have anyone to blame but themselves, because when you get so many opportunities in front of goal and you can't tuck them in, the other team's eventually going to take advantage of their opportunities that come their way, and they're going to score. So Costa Rica winning this 1-0, but looking at how both teams played, I think it was worthy of a draw at the very least for Honduras. But Honduras is better suited, like I said, to finish second in this group. I think, given the way they played, this looks very promising. Given this is a team that is sitting fifth in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying, and this is a team that has really been struggling under Jorge Luis Pinto. They only won one of their last 8 games. Now I think it's one of their last 9 games. But the way they played today, it looked promising. It looked like it was an improvement from their World Cup qualifying campaign, and they continue this. Hopefully, I will feel pretty. I'll be vindicated in my prediction of them getting to the final. So those are my reactions to those games, guys. See you tomorrow for USA versus Panama and Martinique versus Nicaragua.